I'm just gonna start this video because I'm only gonna get more full of shame the longer I wait. Look at this hair. It's doing the best it can. Be nice to it. It's a fragile creature. Today we're talking about shame. And the perfect way to start a video about shame is with the sex toy giveaway. Yeah! This is gonna be a bit of a weird video, but I'm just going with my gut on making this video. There's something compelling me to want to talk about shame with all of you and to also give you sex toys and possibly to talk about my recently dead dog. It's gonna be all over the place, but maybe it'll be a bit cathartic. Speaking of catharsis, let's talk about sex toys. Ooh, this is not my first rodeo. In the year 2024, as I live and breathe under the watchful eyes of whatever the hell is up there, I did not think that I would be giving more sex toys away. Yeah! Strange things continue to happen, so we embrace the strange. Embrace change, embrace strange. Let's talk about sex toys. Let's talk about them. Again, if you are a family member of mine that is watching my video to see what I'm up to, please just move on from this part. Mom, I know you watched this last time. Move on, please. I appreciate your support. The girl's got a job to do. The Bellesa giveaway went so well last time that we are doing it again. If it ain't broke, it's probably a sex toy from Bellesa. They're pretty sturdy. My buddies over at Bellesa are giving away, once again, free sex toys and gift cards to anyone and everyone that signs up for this giveaway. In case you didn't know, Bellesa is a by women company for all things sexual wellness. Bellesa's mission is to empower everyone to embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. And I'm gonna be talking about shame alongside of it. This does go hand in hand. Clit and vibrator, you know? Please welcome to the stage, the Pebble. Suction, vibration, controlled independently, ergonomically built to perfectly fit in your hand. See that? Look at that. And no annoying pattern modes. Cute! And look how discreet this is with a little charging case right there. I said it last time and I'll say it again. This is the most adorable, horny little Polly Pocket. This is girlhood. The air vibe. Whoa. G-spot and clit stimulation. Dual stimulation. We love a multitasker. Waterproof, rechargeable, silent. I mean, what is this, an iPhone? You can do this. Wow, look at that. Incredibly discreet casing. Cute! Last but certainly not least, thump to the thump to the thump thump thump. It's a thump. Boom, boom, boom. Powerful. A toy that does it all. Vibrates, suctions, thumps. Look at it. It utilizes Bellesa's improved pleasure jet technology. Elon Musk could never. Innovative thump technology for natural clitoral palpitations on the back of the pop grip. Like a pop socket on your cooter. Again, super discreet charging case. Whose sunglasses are these? Ah, my eyes! It's a thump! USB rechargeable, waterproof, and made from premium quality silicone. You just got thumped. Thank you so much, Bellesa, for supporting this video. And for any of you out there that are interested in getting yourself a little treat, all you gotta do is sign up, drop your email, and everyone and anyone who does gets a free sex toy or gift card. Everyone gets something. Treat yourself to a little something nice. The link is in the description below. Bing, bang, boom. You thump. So obviously I thought with this support from Bellesa, a sex toy company, I got inspired to talk a little bit with you about shame. And the good people at Bellesa are okay with me talking about that because obviously when they first came to me about working together, I was like, that's so exciting. And then also I was like, oh, are people gonna think weird things if I'm promoting sex toys? Which I use in my own life, TMI, maybe, you've already assumed it. The shame that was present just felt like a very old feeling that I struggle with in a lot of areas of my life. So I thought maybe by just kind of bringing it to the table and talking to you about shame, it would be helpful in some way. I've written a bunch of notes and I've done a bunch of like research and I've sort of thought about the way I want to talk about it, but as always, I'm a bit scattered because it's such a broad topic, but it is very personal to me. The last couple of years, I've been much more chatty about my feelings, especially this last year, and it's been really nice. Turns out I have a lot of them, a whole lot of them. Kind of trying something new here. It's kind of like a solo podcast, kind of like a stream of consciousness. I don't really know how to qualify it yet because I haven't done it yet. We're kind of making it as we go. I have been in therapy, as you guys know, for a while, and it's super helpful. Lately, have been confronted with the idea of shame. I'm gonna pause for a second and collect myself. Okay, I'm back. I just kind of stood up and walked around and then came back. Okay, caveat. I am not a psychologist. I am not a psychiatrist. I am not an academic. I am not a professional in the world of truly anything. Simply a girl with a lot of feelings and a camera and a Wi-Fi connection. And that's enough for me to make a video like this. It feels a bit... I'm shaming myself before I even start trying to talk about shame. That's how ever present it is in the background. I was gonna say, it feels a little pompous to be someone who's not a professional in psychology talking about feelings. But what the f else is the internet for? So much of my life I have wrestled with shame, and I have not really known what to call it or had language to describe the complicated way I was feeling. I've always had anxiety and nervousness and deep sense of like loneliness and care about what other people think about me. And on top of all of that, which I think binds all of those things, is this overarching sense of shame. I think it developed when I was very young, sort of left to my own devices, and became very independent, and so developed this sort of inner critic that pushed me to figure things out, but pushed me in a way that was very shame driven. And so that inner critic and that shameful voice has stayed with me. If it's been there forever, why are you just talking about shame now? Because this last year has been quite a roller coaster for old Helbig. I got diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was such a whiplash of experience that I went into a survival mode, and I had to prioritize myself and my health in a way that I had never done in my entire life. And suddenly this sort of critic voice that was ever present and always looming sort of dissipated for me, because why would I be mean to myself? I have fucking breast cancer. Like, it took me getting breast cancer for this critic voice in the back of my head to calm down. A weird, beautiful byproduct of my cancer experience was that this inner critic just sort of took a back seat. Maybe I've said that already, but that was like amazing. But now that treatment's over and I'm in this new chapter of my life where I'm trying to figure out what my future looks like, who I am in the world, what the hell I'm doing, I'm stepping into this new territory and I'm picking up where I left off. A lot of the inner critic and shame feelings have showed back up again, as if I have completely forgotten about my last year of struggle, survival, triumph, all of that. Wild, I know. But now I'm at a point in my life where it's like, I don't want my brain to think like this anymore. I don't want this constant feeling being ashamed for I don't even know what. Anyone else out there can't sleep at night because they're constantly replaying the most embarrassing things they've ever done in their life? I've repressed a lot of feelings for a lot of years. I sold Dress to Repress merch. I advertised my ability to stuff it down. And now I'm at a point where it's taking too much of a toll on me. And so the last few years I've been trying to like untangle these years of tangled emotional cords inside of me, and I'm getting closer. And this shame thing has really come up as a big knot, especially because, for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, very tragically, last week we had to put Goose, my dog, down, and it was incredibly sad and is incredibly sad and depressing, and I haven't cried that much in my life about anything that I can remember. She was like a part of me. You know, like those ideas of soul dogs. I talked a little bit about this on May Marie Nice podcast, so you can go listen to. Your connected soul in a soulful way. And that's how I felt about Goose. I had her for 11 years, and she was a high anxiety, aggressive dog. And also I loved her, and she was so sweet, and she was so scared of the world in a lot of the same ways I was. And so I felt just like so bonded to her. And at the same time, I felt so much shame around feeling in over my head to take care of a dog that had such behavioral issues that I wasn't smart enough to deal with. But at the same time, I understood her emotional reactivity. And I felt like I was the best suited person in that sense to take care of her. So I couldn't even imagine at any point giving her away throughout the 11 years of ownership. And in her passing now, there's such a huge emptiness in my life, which I'm dealing with. Remember, there's sex toys. Remember that there's free sex toys. Sorry. This is intense. I knew a video about shame would be obviously a bit intense, but I don't want this to feel so heavy. I'm just trying to give context for why I'm talking about shame, because I'm trying to release a lot of the shame that I've had in my life. The Goose passing of it all made that even more clear, that I've had so much shame associated with her as much as I've had love. And she was an amazing, amazing dog for me. Jeez Louise, and here comes the hives. My shame spots are showing up. No, it just means I'm alive. Bruce, I love you very much. I know you're somewhere watching this video. You've always been my #1 fan. This is about confronting my own psychology. For me, shame stands for seriously, Helbig, awkward much? In case you were wondering, naming my feelings is really hard for me to do. I'm like emotionally dyslexic so often until a feeling takes me over completely, and then I'm like, oh, I guess I'm angry. Now in a place where like I want to understand my feelings as they're happening, because that helps me move through them in a much healthier way. And there was a part of me that was like, oh, maybe this cancer experience will sort of push me into this new phoenix rising from the ashes. Fuck everything. Nothing matters. I don't have the fears and the anxieties and the shame I had before. I'm gonna go out in the world and do everything I want to do, go everywhere I want to go, and talk to anyone I want to talk to. And that's not the case. Not entirely. I do feel this sense of rebirth, but also I am, like I said, picking up where I left off with a lot of these feelings and a lot of this inner critic bullshit. So let's talk about it. That's all we've been doing is talking about it. Just talking about feelings. Helbig in the new era. Talking about her feelings. They're not that scary. Some of them are just f***ing annoying. What is shame? From Scientific American, the scientific underpinnings and impacts of shame. Shame is that uncomfortable feeling in the pit of your stomach when you feel like you have no safe haven from the judging gaze of others. Not judgy gaze, judging gaze. And there doesn't even have to be a real disapproving person present for you to feel shame. You just have to imagine that someone is thinking critically of you, which is what I do all the time. I have, unfortunately, an incredible imagination, and I imagine that everyone thinks I'm an idiot all of the time. There's an idiot hiding in plain sight, and I have to work extra hard to make sure no one knows it. It's an exhausting way to live. So there's a term for people that are prone to feeling shame. You wouldn't believe it. It's called shame proneness. Ding, ding, ding. There's a link to depression and a link to anxiety and generalized anxiety disorder. Not surprising. They all go together. Like, what are things that go together? Peanut butter and jelly. Or like a tapeworm and diarrhea. Guilt, shame, not the same thing. That's a huge thing to recognize. Guilt and shame are not the same thing. Like shame, guilt happens when we transgress in some capacity, moral, ethically, religiously, and we criticize ourselves for it. With guilt, we view the particular action of transgression as the negative. With shame, we view ourselves as the negative. When we feel guilty, it's actually a sign of our own empathy, because we can recognize someone else's experiences and how our actions might affect them and take responsibility. With guilt, we turn our gaze outwards to look for strategies to repent, to make amends, reverse whatever harm it is we might have caused. When we feel ashamed, we turn our attention inward, focusing mainly on the emotions that are boiling inside of us rather than what's happening around us. Okay, the camera's already overheated. Shame on you, camera. Just kidding. Just kidding. Anyway, what were we talking about? Shame! My favorite thing. Psych. When we feel guilt, our attention turns outwards. When we feel shame, our attention turns inwards on we are bad. Guilt can also trigger shame. obviously. According to this article, ridding oneself of guilt is a lot easier than ridding oneself of shame. To rid oneself of guilt, there are ways to make amends. Apologizing, paying fines, jail time. To alleviate shame, you have to learn to like yourself. Ain't that crazy? Or at least just accept yourself. That's the antidote to shame, is self-love, is acceptance. And that is what I'm working on right now. Then I read an article on Psychology Today, How to Deal with Shame, from Chicky Davis. I don't know if that's how you say your name, but I absolutely love it. In this article, they're talking about state shame and trait shame. I've never heard of this before. What are these things? Types of shame? I'm all ears. State shame, when we have a momentary experience of shame in response to an event, an embarrassing event, an awkward interaction, something. We have a state of shame. Trait shame, however, is more like a personality trait in which we carry shame with us wherever we go. I read that and went, oh my god. Ding, 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 ding. I believe I have some of that. That aligns with the ways in which I feel imprisoned by my own feelings. God, I need to get a massage because I am trying to get this off my back. Shame arises as a result of negative evaluations from others, even if we have absolutely nothing to feel ashamed or guilty about. And we don't feel that the thing we did was bad, but we ourselves are bad. Bad girl. Not in the sexy way. This kind of connects. Right? And if changing behavior doesn't reduce the shame, it can cause one to hide or retreat, which has been a long-standing coping mechanism of mine. This can lead to something called internalized other, which is a belief that others have a disapproving or negative view of you. And this can happen even if you have a positive view of yourself, but you just believe that everyone else hates you. If we get ridiculed enough or perceive ridicule enough, we begin to internalize it. And it becomes part of us. And that's what they're referring to as trait shame. Something to think about. Long-standing shame, I believe to be very unconscious, which is why I'm trying to talk about it. Because once you bring the unconscious to consciousness, you can really start working through it. I find that I experience shame, did I mention like all the time? Tips for dealing with shame. Here's the way Chicky Davis says to deal with shame. Identify your shame. Naming it, recognizing it, literally writing it down. Because shame can be so largely unconscious, which is why I think I haven't been able to even call it shame until recently. I feel shame when I try to put myself out there. I feel shame around making this video about shame, which alleviates a little bit of the shame, honestly. You don't have to share with anyone labeling your shame. You just need to write it down. Like, I feel shame when ... It is just making sense of it for yourself. It might be very painful, but some of the most beautiful things are painful. You know, like belly button piercings. Practice self-compassion. This is a huge one. Being nice to yourself. I'm tired of being mean to myself. And that takes effort. It doesn't just happen because you thought about it. I have literally asked in therapy, how does someone like themselves? Like, that's how disconnected it has always been for me. I know it sounds bizarre, but I know a lot of you feel similarly. There's just so much noise too in the internet, and the comparative nature of social media makes it really, really hard to cultivate self-love. Break through the cringe of enjoying yourself. I'm gonna try to start liking myself. Write a self-compassion letter. They say even write it from someone you perceive to be more powerful than you. So write a letter to yourself from some fictitious or real person that you believe holds power over you, and write nice things from them to you. See what happens. You don't have to tell anyone about it. And they also recommend this loving kindness meditation, which I guess is a form of meditation that helps increase positive emotion, where you imagine giving love to others and giving love to yourself. That sounds so nice. So weirdly, I think one of the antidotes to shame that I'm coming to terms with for myself, and it is likely very different for every one of you that has your own unique experience in relationship to your own personal shame or guilt or whatever it might be. For me, I believe one of the antidotes is vulnerability, is sharing, vomiting my real guts onto you. Maybe you see something familiar in the Bible. That's not the best image, and cultivating self-compassion, which is like such a thing. Seemingly easy to do, but is very difficult. Any of you out there trying to do it, it's hard to do when you are not familiar with doing it. But I think is something worth doing. And part of me trying to learn to like myself is by facing and talking through the shame that I think stands in the way of me enjoying me. Did any of this make any sense? Here it comes! Anyway, I think I need to wrap this up because this camera's gonna die again and I am going in circles, but I think this was good. Thank you for listening to me talk through thoughts on shame. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you relate to shame? And let me know if you like this video and want to do more videos like this. I'm very much in an era of talking about my feelings. So if you'd like me to make more videos talking about my feelings, I'd like to do that. Maybe they'll be more succinct. And also don't forget that if you want sex toys, you got them. No shame in that game. Don't forget to sign up for your free Bellesa sex toy or gift card. Just drop your email. That's it. Everyone that signs up gets something, so go forth and get off. I feel like there should have been, no. This was great, and we did it. And I don't know.